Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, welcome to another episode of But Am I Wrong? Starring two people who have not once ever been wrong. And I am so excited for today's episode because I have some shit to talk.
That's why we make this podcast. Actually, it wasn't to talk shit, but it just evolved into that. And I like that.
Well, it really what this podcast started as is Melissa and I talked too much on our original podcast. And we said, we need to have a second one. That'd be so much fun. This is a great premise. And then we still were talking too much. And then we said, what if we have 2 other episodes that we do? And sometimes we still talk too much.
And that's fine. It's not that much anymore.
No, we've gotten good.
Looking at the time right now, we're going to be done in record time. And we had a meeting.
No, Melissa, I know. I know. This is, remember I told you my Groundhog Day thing? Things are going weird for me. Like, it's my Groundhog Week. Like, I'm on double speed, but also it feels like everything's going slow at the same time. It's a weird time. But yeah, if you are interested in this show, great. You're here. You're listening.
Let people know that I'm wearing a sports bra.
Oh, cool. So if you guys want to join our Patreon, watch the video version. I know she won't do it, but boy, oh boy, we do a full outfit. You guys, do you have to join the Patreon to see what she's wearing? Because when I hopped on late to this after our lunch break, Melissa was in the other room and she walked in. So I got to see a dramatic entrance of Melissa in this outfit. And I was like, this is such a look that the people deserve to see. I will actually narrate this for her right now. She's showing off. Wow. What? Okay. She wants to turn you on. Oh my gosh, guys, people have to pay for this on OnlyFans usually. This is, it is not only fashion, it's erotic. And it is, and did you just catch the logo you saw there? Yeah, you did. So if you're questioning if that looked like it might be something, it is that. So it's what a look. And what I said to her before we started, I said, it's so funny because I know that this is all about the illusion. The funny part to me is everything is still color coordinating, even though the goal was to not let people know what you're wearing on the top, middle, and bottom.
No, the middle, I guess this is middle.
Yeah, I would call it the middle.
It was literally the last one I had clean. So I just picked it up and I was putting this on anyway. And what I was going to try to do is just to safety pin it because like I'm cold, but also hot right now. So I thought that this would be good, but then I couldn't find a safety pin. And I will be working out after this. So I had to I was like, I'll just put the middle part on. And I already had these pants on from this morning. And these are pajamas, but I am completely showered.
Oh, I believe you.
I have to shower twice a day. I have to have a fresh shower in the morning. And then after I work out, I have to have a shower. And I also work out twice a day.
That's the part that's too much for me to comprehend.
Yeah.
It's not the working out. It's not the shower after the working out. It's the fact that you're working out twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. My pods could never. I'm hoping though. I'm hoping I can get to that point. I miss that in the summertime. I mean, I'll do a washcloth shower now if I'm like, I feel yucky and I've already showered earlier. But
or if we like to call it a hoe bath.
Mm-hmm. Hey, hoes need baths too.
Mm-hmm. It's a good time.
What's also a good time is this podcast. So if you want to understand the premise, it's quite simple. The big overarching thing is we want you to participate. So this has 3 different segments. We'll explain each one before we get into it. But what we want you to do is participate. So you can participate by submitting things for us to talk about. But really, the overarching participation that we so desperately crave from you is for you to vote and who you think was wrong in each part of this episode. We post those as stories and polls over on our Instagram story, and we add them to the highlight there as well. And then we read the results along with your thoughts and feelings, so you can respond to those specific stories. That is the specific vote for that one and be like, oh my gosh, I would never do this, or I feel this way about this, or this reminds me of this, or this is how I feel. And then we read all of those. And sometimes we even have mini updates from the original people who have written in, or if it's pop culture, we'll have what is currently happening, any updates like that. And we do all of that on our See You Next Tuesday episode. And it's a grand old time. This is we've done this. If you listen regularly, we've heard this before, but this is for everybody else. We do have a hard time seeing all of our DMs. So it is still happening that you are sending DMs. It looks like it's sending off. You're not blocked by us or anything like that. But they're nowhere. They're not in any of the folders or any of the sections on Instagram. So if you have submitted in, not just voted, but responded into those stories, and we've never read them aloud on See You Next Tuesday, please send us an email with your username so we can manually make sure that they're not in that hidden. They are in the hidden folder. Remove you from the hidden folder.
I'm moving dozens a week.
Yeah. And I feel so bad. And
I do too, because people have legit been writing in. And
And I'm sure you're oh, it's okay. They don't have time to read this one. Or when we're oh, that's it. I would feel that's not it. I fucking responded, you bitch. Right. And I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happened. It happens on my main too sometimes. And I don't know what to do about that one. And I kind of just deal. So yeah, deeply sorry. Deeply sorry.
Also, we will be doing some Halloween movies coming up for What Am I Watching?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And if you would like a say in that, you can go join our Patreon. It's under the free tier and whatever else tier that you're in. So you don't have to pay to participate, but we'd like you to come participate.
So our first segment is But Am I Wrong? Where we pitch to the other either something we are going through in our life currently that we want to know if we're in the wrong about, or it could be a hot take, a rant, or just some good old proper bitchin'. Mine is what I would call an encore. And can I distinctly remember how it got brought up the first time? No, you could probably tell me. We are talking about valuing animals over people, Hurricane Edition.
Mm-hmm. I thought about this.
I know, I wondered if you were going to talk about this, but this made me irate. And I know the last time we talked about valuing people who value animals over people, a lot of people were well, some people animals are the closest relationships that they have, all that. And I will give the same disclaimer I gave the last time we talked about this. I am not talking about you and your own relationship with your animal whatsoever. Nor am I talking about pick a random stranger's value of life versus your own childhood dog. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the idea of animals and the idea of people and humans. So this has been, we're obviously in hurricane season in Florida and over on the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico, all of that. and back to back to back, horrible, horrific hurricanes. And I think with the rise of TikTok and people watching literal and figurative car crashes online and like being addicted to watching other people like suffer through trauma and want to play by play and all of this kind of stuff, we've blurred the line between being concerned about humanity and people in times of need in places in the world or the country that we might not be privy to telling people pretty horrific and horrible things about their character and what they're doing wrong, and all of these things specifically usually coming from people who are not from the area where you get hurricanes whatsoever, and saying horrible, nasty shit. So the amount of comments I have seen anytime there's a video about a hurricane, whatever it is, it's just all I can think about is the animals. All I can think about, there could be a crying baby there, and it's, I don't care about the people. What about the animals? Are the animals okay? And the thing that makes me mad about that, most of all, is that these are fellow pet owners, and people will comment on it being like, please tell me you took your animal. I would take so much fucking offense to that statement if someone said that. Like, you would never say that. Please tell me you took your kid with you. What? Like, it is just fucking wild. And then specifically, there's been so much fucking judgment of, well, you should have left earlier. You should have thought about this. You should do whatever you can to get out. And then when some people, which I just want to say, it's not really happening. People aren't abandoning their animals that they care so desperately about that they're just like, oh, perfect excuse. I don't want this dog anymore. It'll die. That's like not what's fucking happening. And if it is happening, you're not seeing it on fucking TikTok. People aren't filming that and showing that. Like, what? But saying like, oh, I hope you're going to take your animal with you. I hope you're going to do that. As that's a brand new idea that they have never once thought of. Saying that they need to do everything in their power, move hell and earth to get out of there. You have to do that. You have to do that for your kids. You have to do that for your family. Now, let's say if that person had a dozen horses, 12 donkeys, 30 sheep, and 5 bison. If you left those there and you unlocked the gate, let them roam so they can get to higher ground because they already know how to do that. If you do that, that's actually not. You have to do everything in your power, except you have to do exactly how I think you should do it. And the amount of people who are like, I can't believe anybody would leave their pets. Everyone in the fucking comments who is from Florida, who is a part of the hurricane, it's like, we're not leaving our pets. We're bringing our pets with us. But like in the hypothetical, if we have to choose between our children and pets, yeah, I'm going to make sure my pets are safe. Like, I'm going to make sure that that's what's happening there. The shelters can take pets. 99% of the shelters can take pets. But like the pushing information from people who are not there saying like, well, if you left your home, if you're not hunkering in place, then your animal's not there with you because you couldn't bring them to the shelter. Then do you think people that might be new to Florida might see that and think, oh, I have to hunker down because I can't bring my pet because they don't accept them at shelters? Because they're going to take your word for it because you're talking about it like you're a fucking expert. Nobody plans to abandon their animals. Nobody's first choice is to abandon their animals. That is so rarely fucking happening. And if it is happening, it is because it is a last possible choice that you have to do to save your children. And the people who are commenting the crazy fucking shit about it, not one of them is a parent. And they're like, my cats are like my family. I could never leave them. Totally. And you don't have children. So therefore, you should not leave you should make sure you do everything for that. But people who have human children, they're not going to say, sorry, sweetie, we can't bring this animal, whatever animal it is. Again, this is not happening. We can't bring this animal. So we're all going to die here. Because I'm going to tell you right now, one of those things is illegal. One of those things you will go to jail for. It is just like such a fucking hypothetical that makes me so mad that people act like it is actively happening. And someone said in a comment, sometimes it's not an option. I would never willingly leave an animal behind, but I had to evacuate a wildfire of 2 kids, 2 large dogs, and a cat in an SUV, and I had no option to get my chickens. That's really, really sad. It breaks my heart. I have pets and I can't imagine doing that. Actually, there was a fire in front of my house about 2 years ago. I took my son, both dogs, and a cat. Breaks my heart they're so helpless without us. They need to be taken care of. Someone else said, it's horrible and awful, but sometimes you have to make hard decisions, and pressuring people to risk the lives of their family because of farm animals just isn't morally okay. And they said, no, I disagree with that. And someone said, unless you have to leave to save your family. No, you should never. I don't believe that person has a kid whatsoever because...
Or any child in their life, period.
No, because wildfires specifically, if you're going to judge people on how they carry themselves through a hurricane, from what I have seen online, the least judgment is coming from people who live in tornado areas, people who live in fire areas, because it's like, I understand. Like, we understand whether you've been through something like that yourself, or you know people who have lost everything or have had to make really tough decisions. And like specifically like instant moment decisions. Those are the two things that are the fastest fucking things. You don't really have time to ponder over it, to talk about like the moral quandaries of it. And so for someone to say like, no, there was a wildfire. And I go, I don't believe that you've lived through a wildfire and you're going to judge someone for hypothetically leaving farm animals because they do better fending for themselves than transporting. Because a lot of the time, transporting animals can be horribly unsafe for them and actually can cause them to die. Like, that's why zoos aren't evacuating in the sense that you want them to. It just makes me so mad. And they're positioning it like, hey, brand new idea. By the way, can you like check in, like, show us the dog. I like to hear the dog. I'm like, this person's talking about how they almost died. And you're like, I don't give a shit about you. Show me your dog. And it's like, this person loves their dog more than you, a stranger, do. Like, shut the fuck up. Stop pretending it's like a brand new idea that you, someone who has never lived through a hurricane in life. By the way, you should probably bring your pet so they don't die. No fucking shit. And nobody's asking if the people are okay, just the animals. And then if people don't take their animals, it's like, well, then you deserve to die. You deserve to die this way as well. Yeah, if you don't evacuate, you deserve death. But if you evacuate without your animals, you also deserve death. And again, it's just like not happening. And the thing that I specifically want to talk about, again, as people who live in wildfire area, we're very familiar with this. But similar to wildfires, prisons do not evacuate during hurricanes. And there are this black and white idea of good versus bad. And we talked about this before, but like the reason why people can advocate for the unborn is the same reason why they can advocate for pets, because they view them as like perfect people because they don't speak, they don't talk, they don't have these, like, they are just morally pure and perfect and therefore have no flaws. And you can advocate for them to the nth degree versus people who have a little bit more nuance to them and humanity. And yeah, so I just think that like there are so many things to be so mad about creatures, human and animals. But I think there are humans who are also not asking to be in this position. There are humans who are also having their decisions for their safety made for them. And a lot of people just think that jails are filled with rapists. Unfortunately, very few rapists in jail. That it's just filled with like horrible, bad people who deserve death. But that's like not the case. And I think if you listen to this podcast and you hold those views about prisons, I'd be like very shocked at this point. But just to like understand that there are people there who are on marijuana misdemeanors. There are people for a first time, people who are just being held because they can't afford bail.
There are a lot of innocent people in jail.
Exactly. They're people who've never, it's not like, oh, well, they committed the crime, they're paying their time. They're not. They haven't even gone to trial. They haven't gone to court. They haven't done any of it. They can't afford the bail. Like, there are so many horrible things fucked up with our judicial system, and especially in states like Florida. And to view that as objectively, these animals, this is who deserves our advocating for that, because we can actually advocate and like, you know, pass laws and legislation about the treatment of prisoners during hurricanes and during natural disasters. That is a lot harder, and it's a lot more work and a lot more legwork to pursue those kinds of things versus just commenting on TikToks of people who you don't know, who have family pets that they love, not caring about their experience, all wanting to know if the animal is okay because you can't sleep at night without knowing that. I just don't think it makes you a more compassionate person than anyone else. And I think people frame it like that. Like, I'm also worried about I'm so worried about that. But like, I know I will never worry about somebody's animals and care more about somebody's animals than they do themselves.
Yeah.
And like, they're going through one of the hardest times in their life. And the idea that people online are going to come with judgments and accusations and assumptions, I just think is like super not your fucking place.
Agree. You're not wrong.
The end.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into mine.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're back. And now we're going to get into my But Am I Wrong? And mine's rant/story time. And there's a difference between a boy mom and a mother who has a son.
Oh, I love this. Is one of my passion projects.
So I just want to go down a list of things. If you make your entire personality about having a son, you might have an issue. People that are overly proud of their sons and don't think that they make any mistakes, even though they're a complete brat, you might have a problem. If you jump up and wrap your legs around your son, you definitely have an issue. If you say that you take your son out on dates and not just, to eat, you definitely have an issue. If you say that no girl will ever be good enough for your son, you have an issue. If you see your son as a substitute for having a man, you also have an issue. If you talk to your son in a very low, sultry voice, you also have an issue. If you look at your son in a way that might be construed as lust, you definitely have an issue. If you say that your son is lucky because you're his first kiss and the first woman that he ever loved, you definitely have a problem. If you think that your son's future partner is a rival and your son is a baby, you also have a problem. If you say that your husband gets jealous when you kiss your son on the cheek or show any type of affection, you both have an issue. And also, don't go around saying that this is like, for other people saying like that the mothers have like an Oedipus complex. And the thing about Oedipus is that his parents, when they learned that this might be something that happens to them, they sent their son away because they're like, that's disgusting. We don't want that to happen. He came back as an adult. They didn't know who he was. And Electra, his mother, slept with him.
This is the Bible?
No, this is Greek mythology.
All right. They all have the same name. I was like, I thought it would. I was like, this feels more of a book I'm familiar with.
Yeah. They didn't want this shit. It just happened. They didn't want it. They tried to prevent it. So like, stop being fixated on your child. It's weird. It's disgusting. You can be affectionate with the child without being overly protective and coddling them. Your son will turn out to be a nightmare if you do these things. And guess what? He will not be good enough for any woman. because a woman won't put up with this shit. It's emotional incest. You're creating a nightmare of a person. Stop trying to create your dream husband out of your son. Your son should not be providing you with any emotional satisfaction. Thank you.
That was poetic, beautiful, inspirational.
Every example that I gave is an example of someone that I've seen online. Every single one of them are.
You know it's bad when you see a video coming across your For You page and you go, oh, I got to get to the comments to see what this is parodying. I got to see to get to the comments so I can see the original. And then people in the comments going, I can't believe I finally found the original. And you go,
this is it?
I'm so sorry.
This is not a parody. This is real.
This is the actual serious. This is not the played up for the jokes and the hee hee ha ha. Like, we're being serious about your husband being mad about you giving your son a hug. This is wild.
Have you seen the one where the woman is like filming her son and talking to him in like baby sultry voices? And
No.
he's like I would say late teens. And she films him like he's her boyfriend.
No, I don't like that. It does remind me of the mom who did the football photo shoot with her son.
That's what I said. Jump up and
No,
wrap
I know.
your
I
legs
was like,
around.
that one where you said like filming being baby voice. I know that those were still images, but I feel like I could hear the mom.
Oh, there's a full video.
Baby voice through that.
That's not just images. There's a full video.
It's just wild. And like you always see in the comments of that, like, or people talking about like boy mom discourse. One that I've like never thought about before was that like the daughters of boy moms and like talking about what that's like and like how it's like, yeah, it's worse than you think. Like it's not like performative. It's not for other people. Like it is even worse behind the scenes. And there's a TikToker. I think I've told you about this girl, but she has a quote like that she literally said in her TikTok. It's like the first thing when you search her name. And it's so crazy.
My boy moms feel me on this, but my son has my heart and my soul. I obviously am obsessed with Stevie Lee. She is just the greatest little girl in the world. But my whole life, I always wanted to be a boy mom. And I remember when I found out I was pregnant with him, and I was just ecstatic because I was such a tomboy growing up. Anyways, the whole point of me making this video is I had to share his preschool photo with you.
It's literally like when you have to say, I obviously love my daughter, but
so messed up.
And delete. How about we try that clip one more time?
Look at what I just sent you. This is the one I was talking about where she talks to him in a weird voice.
Uh-oh. Why is she asking him to do this like thirst trap trend?
But he's all tatted up, so he's obviously at least 18, but like she's been doing this to him his whole life.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
If I have a boy, I'll cry and I'll do everything in my power. And like, I will be so honest with that. Like, that is not my first choice whatsoever, but I would like love my kid regardless. But I would be a mother with a son.
Yes. A mother with a son is different than
Jessie is a mother with a son and a daughter. But like, that is like
both my sisters.
Yes. It's just not that.
Yuck.
I've even had people like when I'm like with my nephew, people who are just like around being like, oh my God, oh, it's your I was like, oh, he's my nephew. They're like, oh my God, he's got a little crush. And I go, no, you're so fucking weird. And they're like, oh, he's obsessed with you. He must love the girls. And I'm like, we are family. And that's disgusting.
Yes.
Nasty.
People are disgusting.
People need to be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
First on the list, Caroline Calloway. Second,
she is nowhere near the first on the list.
She's not at all.
There's other people that are way worse.
We didn't even talk about the last time, though, that the reason why the implication was why she's clean shaven is because like she's going to die and she wants the paramedics to like, she doesn't want to have any pussy hair for when the paramedics like, and all that stuff where she was like, I'm going to be so sexy and hot when they get my corpse.
If you want to know what we're talking about, listen to last Friday's Fisting Friday. But I really don't want to. No, I wish that had been. I'm deleting this just like you're going to delete one of the calls that's coming up on Thursday. There's nothing.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Deleting from my memory.
Wiped. It's like the reverse that to Raven.
Mm-hmm.
I'm throwing it out into the universe instead of having it suck into my brain. Okay, well, we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Question. Hold on. Before we take that break.
Yeah.
have a question about the reference you just made for That's So Raven. Because with That's So Raven, the camera is zooming, like we as the audience are zooming into her face, into her brain.
Yeah.
But are we sucking into the brain, or is the brain projecting onto us?
Oh, to me, it was always, the brain is her brain. First of all, big brain. Second of all, strong, powerful brain. And that brain, the premonition, the future, that is being sucked. Like her brain just has like and it goes, and it sucks that in. And then I think as that's sucking in, we're diving into the brain.
Okay. Never seen a full episode. But it's a meme that transcends.
Should I start calling you Miranda? You haven't seen a full episode?
I'm not married to her, so it's not my problem.
And she's lying. So that's the other problem. It is truly one of the best. I mean, we know I went to a fucking meet and greet for Raven's Phone. Like I was the biggest fucking That's So Raven fan. I was like, when Hilary Duff was doing Lizzie McGuire, I was like, I want to do this. I want to be on TV. I love this. This is so fun. And then when I saw That's So Raven, I said, I want to do this on TV. This is my bitch.
Yes. But also remember your picture with her. And remember how big she was compared to you. That is our same age difference.
Oh, that's really scary.
I know.
That's insane to think about.
I know. That's what I have to remind you
When you were
of.
saying size difference, I said, okay, I was chunky, but good gosh.
I just mean,
I was a child.
me and Raven are the same age. I think she's might be a few months older than me, but
Can we talk about the fact that the height that I was in that photo, I don't think we would have been at drastically different heights.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
but I just mean age-wise.
Age-wise been different, but like, we probably would have looked around the same age difference we look now, which is not much at all.
But the maturity level is different.
Oh, totally. Totally. That's funny. That is crazy. I never think about that. Okay. We'll go on a break and be right back.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
We are back from our break, and it's time to get into our next segment, which is But Are You Wrong? And this is when we read your submissions that you send to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. Tell us what you're currently pondering over, you're losing sleep over. You want to know if you were in the wrong about something or if you would be in the wrong. It can be like a, hey, I'm going to make this decision. Is that bad? Or, hey, I did this thing. Was I wrong for doing this thing? And that's why we've always said, like, don't blame me is the advice you get to the decisions you make. And then this is after you've made that decision. And then you go, was that right?
Whoopsie doodle.
But it can also be like pondering over, am I going to do this thing? And we'll tell you if it's right or wrong. So send yours to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. Please keep it under 300 words. You can let us know your pronouns if you would like, though we do require you to let us know your age And because it is all anonymous, just come up with fake names for people and make sure that we're getting a well-rounded story as well as like character description. So we can give you it's not a jury summons. What do you say?
Verdict.
Verdict. That's the word. So we can give you our verdict. Okay.
We give you a sentencing after we do the verdict.
Oh, true. Hey, Megan and Melissa. I'm wondering if I'm wrong for not letting my boyfriend's parents babysit our son, but I will allow my parents. I'm 25 and use she, her pronouns. So my boyfriend and I have a 7-month-old son. His parents are very sweet and we get along great. My problem is they're not reliable. They'll say they will keep him and be like, oh no, something came up last minute, like an hour before drop off. They claim they want to spend time with their grandson, but I've maybe watched him 3 times since he's been born. My parents always spend time with him, even if it's them coming over just to give us a little break. I'm so tired of their flakiness that I just prefer we set boundaries and they don't have the option to watch him anymore. Is this wrong of me? I haven't brought it up to my boyfriend quite yet because I'm afraid of his reaction. I don't think that they want to watch it. No. So I don't think you're wrong at all. I think this is, I don't know how old his parents are, but like, obviously it doesn't have to be an age thing, but sometimes some people don't necessarily feel like they're ready to be that kind of grandparent. They want to be, they're the kind of fun. They're like, I'm glammy. Like, I'm like, don't call me grandma. That's too aging. Grandma. Or like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, sometimes there are some people like that. And so they don't view themselves in that caretaker kind of role because they either feel A, too young for that role, B, too fucking tired for that role or overworked. Like, they're like, I'm not retired or whatever that is, or they maybe didn't necessarily do as much of that to their own kids and they're not super comfortable with that. But I think that you would not be wrong at all. I think to me, I'm just like, they always flake. So they can, sure. Yeah, you can watch it and you know that you have someone else coming.
They 100% are saying yes. And then something better comes along and they're like, never mind. If you think that something better isn't your grandchild when you've already committed to it, you don't deserve to have to watch the kids. And I would think that your boyfriend would also feel the same way because like if y'all have plans and then they flake, that messes up your plans. And he's just like, we can't rely on them, so let's not ask them anymore. I don't think that's wrong.
I don't think it's wrong at all.
They can just be like, you know, if they come by and watch the kid, like not even watch, they just come by and hang out with the kid, great. If they volunteer on their own, cool. I don't think they're going to. But like, other than that, I don't even think it's setting up a boundary. It's just not asking them anymore.
Yeah. And if they offer, I don't know if they even are offering, but like for me, that's like, these are grandparents you like go to the zoo with and you're like, hey, we're going to do this. You come along. But I mean, for me, I'm also of the point of like, if you don't find that someone is reliable in one aspect that involves your child, I don't know that I would feel like I can depend on them for the other aspects. Like if this is like kind of a no big deal thing for whatever, because for me, like lateness, I think of like, okay, well, what about nap schedules? What about feeding schedules? What about like all these other things that like are a bit more important than just like showing up late so parents miss their movie or whatever. Like it's a little bit more, feel a little bit more on top of it with like a kid. And so I think like people who are not reliable, who you can't count on to continue the same methods of parenting that you're doing or the schedule or whatever that is, I think that those people get to be like fun vacation Disney dads. Like I think that they get to be the ones who just get to come and show up for the fun things, not the nitty gritty.
The actual work.
Yeah. So not wrong at all.
Nope. Next one. Hey, Megan and Melissa, I am in need of your expert opinion. I am 21 and use she, her pronouns. I'm wondering if I'm wrong for skipping out on my dad's birthday party for a concert with my friends. My dad's having a last minute birthday party. He called to ask me and my brothers to go to his party. My brothers are going. I, however, have concert tickets I've had since this summer. I'm not close to dad. He's an asshole, birthday or not. So I chose to skip the party and continue with my plans. Is that wrong of me? My brothers think it's a shitty thing to do. The thing is, my family goes to dinner every year for my birthday. I seriously can't remember the last time he attended. But since it's his birthday party, should I drop everything? Yeah, no thanks.
Fuck your dad.
No, I think you're just calling for reassurance or writing in for reassurance because you know that you're not in the wrong.
Yeah, you know who you're talking to.
Right. And then also, tickets are expensive these days. Very expensive for concerts. Even people that don't deserve to have expensive concert tickets.
Don't I know it?
I think that if he's throwing a last minute birthday party, that's not on you.
First of all, you're a grown
You already
up.
had plans. You're 21. You have plans. You have tickets. Unless he wants to reimburse you for the tickets. But like, now you're missing out on an experience too. Nah.
Also, what I can only assume, and there is a range of middle-aged man birthday party. I don't think there's going to be a bouncy house. I don't think there's going to be face painting. Like, what am I actually giving up my concert tickets for? I'm more likely to give them up for, I would say, a 5 to 8 year old family birthday party for like the rich cousin, where I go, there's going to be a slip and slide. Oh, what the fuck is this going to be? It's going to be you at a bar with your friends, just like, what a party. Woohoo.
It's probably going to be, they rented out like a room, a banquet hall room, and there's going to be music that you don't want to listen to. There's going to be a bar, and there's going to be his old friends. Yeah, a cash bar, and it's going to be his old friends, and they're going to walk around talking about the old days, stuff that you don't care about.
It's going to be like Sydney Sweeney's mom's birthday, all the mag hats.
And she's like, that's not me.
She goes, I just threw the birthday party. You guys, I don't know why you're blaming me for this. Like, it's not my fault I threw the birthday party and then posted the photos online because I got a lot of it in exchange for I'm confused why you're confused.
Right.
But yeah, this is why, like, fuck your brothers too. Like,
and your dad doesn't even come to your own birthday parties.
Yeah. And I'm assuming based on like your brother's reactions, he has a very different relationship with them than you. Maybe not even now, but like historically. Like, I also find it so funny when someone like wants to guilt trip me into doing something that both of us don't want to do. And I'm like, why? I'm confident in my decision to have a backbone, and you'll complain every other day that you wish you could set boundaries. You wish you could have a backbone like anyone else. But the second that I'm doing that and you have this fear that is going to rub off on you looking like you might also have a backbone, you go, no, too far. Like, stand up, bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck your dad.
And your brothers.
Yep. Fuck your dad. Fuck your brothers. Have so much fun at the concert. Which concert is it? Also, having tickets in summer, to me, that's not resale. To me, someone had to wait. Someone had to have a premium credit card. Someone had a code. Like, I can acknowledge that work went into those tickets. And I don't feel like it's being addressed by your family. So,
yep.
Fuck them.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into But Are They Wrong?
Hey everyone, join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
Each week, we deliver 4 fun-filled shows.
In Don't Blame Me, we tackle our listeners' dilemmas with hilariously honest advice.
Then we have But Am I Wrong, which is for the listeners that didn't take our advice. Plus, we share our hot takes on current events.
Then tune in to see you next Tuesday for our listener poll results from But Am I Wrong?
And finally, wrap up your week with Fisting Friday, where we catch up and talk all things pop culture.
Listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, well, we're back. And Megan's she's moisturizing her lips before she gets into her But Are They Wrong? While she's letting that set, But Are They Wrong is when we pick somebody in the media, in the zeitgeist that we think is the worst of the week, the Rachel of the week, the awful person that has done wrong. You're up, Meghan.
So I want to give the disclaimer that there are so many people I could have picked this in the last 2 weeks. Again, horrible people come out during natural disasters, but specifically because I talked about in the first one, not for this one. So I just want to make sure people don't think I'm ranking that I think that this is the worst thing anyone has ever done. No. But oh boy, did it tickle a part of my brain that I finally had an excuse to bring to you all one of my content hyperfixations that I've been with for, dare I say, months. And I will say months because it has been months. And I would like to nominate.
I'm buzzing with excitement.
Molly Rutter.
This is one of these people that you've said before, but in my mind, I'm like, who?
Exactly. And specifically, I said to Melisa months ago, Melisa, you got to watch this girl's content, except you need to be at the right place for it. It's very stressful. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to look away. It's one of those things that it will keep you up at night. I will give her so much fucking credit. She is on a loop in so many people's brains. She is not Trisha Paytas in terms of intentionally trolling. I've actually never seen an unintentional troll before where you recognize this as this cannot be real as someone watching it. But then you start to realize that the person who is doing this does not recognize what they're doing is truly not normal behavior and does come across like an internet troll, but they're doing it totally earnestly. And I, like most people, was introduced to Molly from a video of her running about 45 minutes late to a date. And she decided to walk to the date and bring her dog and was sweating and kept filming to take breaks because she was sweating and going to go get water at a shop or whatever and being oh my God, and I'm so late, all of this kind of stuff. And it was what do you mean you're complaining about being late and being so mad that you are running late and this is going to be late and that you're sweaty when you chose all of this? And I'm someone who's chronically late, but if I'm 45 minutes late, I'm actually not going to choose to walk there instead of drive and do all of these things and then complain about the result of being sweaty. And she has, there's not much connection between the fact that she did that. And then she always just basically tells people oh my God, you guys are so weird. Why? Of course not. No, that's not really what happened. You're making this big deal of anything. And then I dove deeper into her lore, that she is in her 30s and she pretty much only dates men in their early 20s. And she went on a date with a man who was about 22, I think. I could be wrong, so not exact. So she went on a date with this, another one that really blew up. This was prior that I found out in the deeper of her lore. She went out with a 22-year-old who she found out worked in finance. And then on their date was okay, let's do my taxes. And allegedly brought her tax. I don't know what it was, but it was not a joke. And it was a lot. And then, yeah, so she films her dating stories, which is all of this to say. She films dating. She talks about dating. She's incredibly honest, incredibly candid. And similar to Caroline Calloway, an overshare without coloring it in anyone's favor, even though, again, we know this on the podcast. When people talk about stories in their own life, they always make it sound like it's to make themselves look as good as possible. But some people who, even when doing that, you're this feels odd. I'm not on your side. I'm not aligned with you on this. And I will say has gotten the way her account has blown up with the level of hate she has gotten and the level of snark pages and all this kind of stuff, a ton of it is just rooted in fat phobia, and people were very mad at her for quote unquote catfishing her photos. I didn't even care about the story. It's the least interesting thing. Irrelevant to me. I would say that I don't think that was in wild massive catfishing, what fucking ever. I don't care. It's the rest of this kind of lore. And she was also a teacher, and she, I guess, had recently posted about struggling financially and was talking about being a teacher. And then mere weeks later posted that she was so excited. She was pursuing content creation full time and was quitting her teaching job. And she was looking forward to one day being able to make good money on social media. So she was not making that money before. It was quitting in hopes of this. And so that was when I kind of honed in, because that's usually when things start to get bad, is when people quit their jobs before they need to, or even when they can, but they have a very hyper-specific niche that will either burn out in the terms of the audience or you, the creator, because you can't do it forever. And dating stories are especially like that. But she's quite interesting in how she does them. So she posts a video, which is now since deleted, is her getting ready for a date. So it's like, her in front of the mirror, doing her makeup, getting her outfit on, just like talking about the process of the date, like what's up with her. And this is like very standard, not out of the normal for her content. Like it looks like how I would say 80% of her other videos start off. So there's no red flags, nothing coming up there. And it also should be of note that one of her more recent videos that blew up was, and trigger warning for groping, that she got like groped on a date by this guy. And like, it was horrible. And like, it was like awful. And like, she talked about it. And like, again, like with people who are chronic oversharers, there can be a ton of positives from that, which I think is something like that a lot of people shouldn't feel shame about, but like wouldn't share. And so her sharing that is like very, very helpful for a lot of people to recognize, like, yeah, that's not cool on a date, or like, oh, this makes me feel so uncomfortable, or, oh, I was on his side and now I'm like reflecting on the fact of like, why was I feeling that way? Like, why was I doing that or whatever? And that really blew up. So kind of off the heels of that was only, I would say, a couple weeks ago, a month ago, like from the time that this video is up, she is getting ready for her date. She's like, so excited. She's having fun. It's like I think the initial video is 4 minutes long or something like that. So long, and specifically, I want to stress, monetized. So she does the whole thing. She gets ready. She does her makeup. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to play you what is said. And then I will describe what you would see.
Scary state of my life.
She says, that was the scariest date of my life. She's standing in front of a cop car with the sirens going. She has a busted, bloody lip and a black eye. That is the end of it. And she like posts in the comments somewhere, which I don't have a screenshot of that one specifically, of basically being like, I need some time to process this before I can talk about it. And alluding the entire time, looking like the end of this video resulted in her being abused by her date. That was the full implication. She goes dark for about 17 hours. And then she posts the follow-up video, which is her with the busted lip, the black eye, talking about her private tour and her date with a zombie for Buffalo's Fright World Haunted House. An undisclosed ad, which she now says was not an ad, because I think she's under the impression that because she didn't get paid for it, that she was just there for the opportunity, that it is not a partnership. But there are people in the comments who are like, I literally saw this Fright Night like comment on her videos. Like, it was they were cross-promoting it. It's very clear that that's what that was. And that was also up for a good amount of time. And she literally has video POV, living men aren't making the cut, so you go on a date with the undead instead. And like, it's her getting to go through this haunted house, and she's recording with the scare actors and like doing fake dates and all of this kind of stuff. And then she gets on TikTok, she deletes all the videos, and she issues an apology, which is a very her apology, which was, so, I do my dating videos and they're all like, real and stuff. And so I did a video where I dress up with a makeup look that was like spooky and Halloween inspired. So she's letting people think, that who haven't seen it, that she did this black eye, bloody lip. She's doing scare makeup to go to this. She didn't. She did her regular fucking makeup. In the next video where she's doing the Fright Night thing, she shows them applying this makeup to her. But she's like saying that she did the makeup herself, but like she's implying that like, oh, I did this makeup that was like people were saying was insensitive. And she understands, I felt the people who felt the makeup look, which included a black eye and a busted lip, was highlighting domestic violence and physical abuse. And I don't think it would be fair to profit off of that content. So she removed it. And I'm like, you are trying to make it sound like you made a bad taste like joke, or like a bad taste, not even a bad taste joke. You're making like you shouldn't, people are mad at you because you shouldn't have worn a quote unquote scare makeup that looks like it's alluding to abuse to a haunted house. People aren't mad about that. You implied, as you went out with your normal hair, your normal makeup, your normal outfit, then you filmed yourself in front of a cop car with a brand new busted lip and a brand new black eye and said you needed a moment to process the scariest date you've ever been on.
Yeah, she wanted people to think one thing.
Yes, and like now that video is not on her page anymore, she's trying to like subtly rewrite that history. So it's like, to me, in my mind, it comes across like she wants people to think other people are being too sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like not what fucking happened at all. A lot of people are accusing her of doing lots of undisclosed ads. The worst to me is that like, I think she probably wasn't paid for this. And I think that's more embarrassing. And I think if she was paid for this, I don't know that they would have done this. And I will also say that I guess Fright World also commented a bunch on the post initially and they deleted everything. But like, this could have been an incredibly smart partnership. Like there's not a lot of Buffalo influencers. This thing is like Buffalo based or whatever. And like, yeah, going on a date with like a zombie, like that fits in perfectly with her content. You don't have to incorporate the domestic violence part. And I'm not accusing her of this, but I have seen people do some conversations about the fact that like her most recent videos have been talking about very relatable, vulnerable things that have truly happened to her about going on dates with guys who are like pushing physical boundaries and like making her feel uncomfortable or whatever that is. And then garnering an audience who typically kind of trolls her and like hate watches her, to have like those same people and those probably the same usernames and like profile pictures she recognized, having like genuine empathy come from that, to then knowing that like, oh, even the people who hate me care about this. And it feels like, I don't know if it's that thought out in the sense of like whatever, but like, it's not even like a rough draft idea. This is like to me, this is like, Molly, this is a man who would have done, like, this is like, what the fuck are you doing? And yeah, so that was her apology.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right. Like, I don't even know what to say.
Isn't that crazy though?
It is. Mine, it is Jose Galvan from Houston, Texas. The police were called to this restaurant called the Red Lion Pub 4 times. There was who they thought was a burglar, which he was. He had to be rescued by the employees because when they came into work, they saw somebody just dangling from the ceiling. And it was this man, Jose Galvan, and he was completely covered in black grease. And the police department had to come free him. They booked him at the Harris County Jail on burglary charges. And the people that worked there weren't too concerned because he was a former employee.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is just Jose.
Uh-huh. He had been fired. Police said they've responded to 5 break-ins and thefts over the last few months since July 2nd. And there is strong reason to believe that each time it was him coming in through one of these vents, but he got stuck this time. There are probably more charges coming for him. But when I say that he was covered in grease, like he was completely covered head to toe in black grease that had been up in the vents and stuff.
Like peanut butter baby covered?
Yeah. They had to use a industrial size dishwashing detergent to clean him off before they could even put him into the cop car.
Oh my God. It is peanut butter baby covered. Holy
but
shit.
Completely black and slick. I guess peanut butter is slick, but yeah.
But I just also, a child is smaller.
Yes.
That, like, I understand how they could take a jar of peanut butter and cover themselves in that. Why his eyelids, you think?
I think because his eyes were closed as he was going through.
Okay.
And everything got covered.
He didn't do this to like make it slicker going through. You think this was just
no?
Damn, they need to clean that shit.
They do need to clean it, but you know, there's stuff up in the ceiling that you never know what's up in there.
This is like the money with the exploding color kind of things where you can't deny that you did it exploded on you.
Yeah, so that was mine. It was quick.
Wow. I gotta say that grease vent,
disgusting.
Well, and also fires.
I think he's gotten in a few times in different ways, and they've probably closed off since it's been 5 burglaries. They've probably closed off the other areas, and this was the way he was getting in this time.
Because I don't know how you get back out. Because aren't they usually like pulling it somewhat, not like ceiling, but like somewhat higher?
Yeah, he was dangling from the ceiling.
Yeah, but I'm like, how do you get back? Because he leaves from the front at that point.
Clearly isn't thinking, but also like you're returning to the same place 5 times. Let's
diversify.
let's just go find somewhere else. Maybe go get another job for about a week and figure out where all the weak spots are.
Or rob a bank. Like,
I think this was smarter because a bank.
Well, I don't think he would have accomplished.
He would have never accomplished this, but he got into this place 4 times without being detected. This was just number 5.
That's actually crazy. That might be the craziest part of it. Because I'm like, they knew something was going on because he had to go through the grease vent for the last one.
Exactly. He learned his lesson from the other ones. And he was like, this is easy money. Got too comfortable.
I think he did it shirtless, which I do have more questions about. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not wearing shoes. He's wearing shorts. No shirt.
Yep.
You know, maybe he took umbrage with the age-old adage of restaurants: no shirt, no shoes,
no service. Maybe.
He said, I'm going to service myself without my shoes and without my shirt. That's wild. How did you find that?
It just popped up somewhere. I couldn't
love
even
that.
tell you at this point. And also to give like a little, it's not really an update. It's kind of a side story to one that I've done in the past. There was one where a preschool were giving out sleepy time stickers. And recently this week, also in the Houston area, these other teachers were caught with older children doing this at school. So I think this is happening more than we think it's actually happening. It wasn't a one-time thing. The other one happened in California.
Well, the part about the elementary schoolers, I think they were kindergartners. And like,
they're not even in school all day.
Well, I was going to say, I also don't think I don't know that I had nap time in kindergarten. We had nap time in preschool. And so I'm like, what? Like, what part? This is such an odd part of the day that is like not actually baked in for, like, especially like they'll have something like, we're gonna have quiet time, like after lunch or something. And like, we'll read a story. Everyone can like, lounge and lay down on like, rug time, like in kindergarten. But like, that's not nap time. And so that makes me like, I just have so many more questions. And I guess like, the school's like not doing much aside from acknowledging it and then like investigating or suspend. But like the parents had to figure this out and then like talk to each other. And it only
happened because it got one of the students didn't turn hers back in. It was like an accident.
Nasty.
All right. Well, that's everything for this episode. Thank you so much for listening to But Am I Wrong? If you would like to participate, you can send an email to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. Keep it to 300 words or less. Also, you can vote on our Instagram a day or so before the next time we record, which is on Thursdays. Vote for who you think is wrong in the situation. Also, please write in and let us know your thoughts, especially if you are in the minority of votes. Please also follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and join our Patreon. Next couple weeks, we're going to be doing some Halloween movies for But Am I Watching? You can vote in our free tier on Patreon. And I believe that's it.
Yep. Here's hoping that no more influencers go to Disney World during hurricane season. And we won't have to talk about it. I'm willing that. Because people are like, please talk about this. I'm like, they've done it back to back. And I need with this next one, no one to do it. Because I hate them. The end.
All right. We will circle back. Goodbye.
Bye. But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan.
Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I'm the host and creator of Only One in the Room podcast. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us for an hour and lose yourself in someone's incredible Only One story. We talk to the realest of real people, dealing with issues like infertility, addiction, human trafficking, and body shaming. Oh, and we want to be fair, so we talk to some celebrities too. Oscar winners, New York Times bestselling authors, supermodels, and even the most decorated U.S. Winter Olympian. Everyone is invited to share their Only One story with our listeners. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone. Download Only One in the Room wherever you listen to podcasts today.